All right, hello everyone. How are y'all doing today? This is just a really quick video as I relax a moment in the Imagine, my little safe haven. Um, over the last couple of days, I've actually had a few questions from people about starting a business. And so since more than one person has reached out to me and asked me a couple questions, this is going to be a brief intro to starting a business. And you know what? I thank you guys for trusting me enough to even ask me. So that means that obviously you've paid attention to me over the years. So in today's world, slightly different from how I used to have to do it when I initially started out. One of the things I have to say is if you have an idea, you got something on your mind, so you got something you think you want to do, why not go onto social media, go onto YouTube, go onto Pinterest, go onto Etsy, go onto the places where people are actually selling things and have businesses and see what they are doing. That's a quick and easy way to see how to get started. There's lots of YouTube videos on things. One of the things I recently told people, screen printing is getting ready to blow up. It's getting ready to be a big thing. You guys know I know. I tried to tell people last year, beginning of this year, that there was a business they needed to start it involving senior citizens. People who didn't get in on the ground floor, now they kicking themselves because the government threw a ton of money to almost any business related to senior citizens. So, that's what I do. I know what's going on and what trends are coming. And, sometimes you can have a business and it's only going to be good for a few years. You make however much money you make out of it and you move on. That's just how it is. So, okay, couple of things that I said you have to do. One, you got to do some research. This is what I've been telling people. Figure out what it is that you want to do as far as a business. Then look and see what other people are doing who have that business. Some people give away tips all the time which tell you how to get started. What they don't tell you is that in every state, every city, every municipality, there are other rules that you have to follow. If you are going to have a retail business, you need a retail license. If you do not have a retail license, this is a hobby, because you are not taking advantage of all of the business discounts that come along with owning the business. I know in the beginning you kind of can't just go out and spend all the money that it takes to get your business up and running if you don't have the money. Some of you are thinking, well, I don't have the money to get started. My motto is it takes money to make money. So you got to be willing to let go of some money in order to make money. Now, if you're just trying to see if this business has potential where you are, what I would do is I would say, hey, you guys, I'm making some soap. Post it on Facebook and see what kind of response you get just from your friends, especially if you have like 1,000 friends or more. That's just a good sampling, right? Just to see if anybody's interested, because if not, why waste your time? All right. So then the other thing came with a question that I got. Somebody said to me, well, what about pricing? I said, okay, here's how you do this. There is a formula for actually setting prices, and it is based on whether you're in retail or you're in the service industry. Like, for instance, I can flat out charge $100 an hour if I'm going to go speak at a speaking engagement. I can flat out charge $1,000 an hour if I'm going to do some conference. So it just depends on what industry you're in as to what you charge and how much you charge. Retail, I always say, if you're doing something that does not bring you 100% profit at a minimum, you don't need to do it. Now, a lot of things, they don't bring you that. Some things bring you 200%, some things bring you less. And you may be in that, selling that product for a social reason, right? That you're just trying to benefit somebody. So that's okay. But if you're asking me about starting a business, you're not really looking at social reasons right now. You normally do that later on after you've had a business for a while. Okay, the next thing the person said to me was, well, I wanted to start this business, but somebody else is already doing it. Somebody's doing every business. There's enough for everybody in every industry. So just because somebody else is doing it doesn't mean that you can't do it. You can do it better, you can do it worse, you can do about the same, or you can develop a niche. You can do it to a specific target audience. So right now there's a lot involved with Black Lives Matter. So if that's your target audience, then of course you're going to limit who's going to purchase things from you, but that's your niche, right? Right now, Black businesses, Black owned is the niche. So yeah, there might be somebody else selling what you're selling, but they're not Black owned, or they're not brown owned, or they're not minority owned, or they're not woman owned. So you have to look at those different things. There's a couple other caveats. But in all of this, when it comes to starting a business, there's a couple of things that I tell people for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure. You must be passionate about it. If you are not passionate about what you're doing, it is going to fail. Period. Point, set, match. Because you're not going to continuously do it. You're going to give up on it. And I say that because, like, I had an opportunity to join the cannabis movement, right? I don't do marijuana. I never have done marijuana. I have questions about the testing surrounding the THC and the quantities. I'm a scientist, so I want to ask these questions, right? When people have approached me, they have not been able to answer my questions. So I haven't jumped into that. Now, is that making people a lot of money? Yes. Is that making people rich? Yes. I look at businesses as a different thing. I actually have a social conscience. So the business has to do more than just make me rich. I have to believe in what I'm doing, or I'm not going to be good at promoting it for somebody else. Do I know people who benefit from THC? Of course. Do I think people benefit from it? Yes. Do I have somebody who I think needs to be in this business? Yes. And there are people that it fits them perfectly. Just doesn't fit me. Doesn't mean it's not a good business, just not for me, right? Okay. So that's why when you see me do things, I make soaps and stuff, because that's stuff that I use. I do stuff that I actually use. I actually do. I teach in the field that I actually worked in. My businesses are geared towards things that I believe. When I'm teaching you how to start your business, that's because I've started several businesses over the years. Or when I'm encouraging you to be successful in what you define as successful, that's because I'm looking at success and how I defined it. And it is totally different for every person. All right. So, my tip from this video is the business that's coming up. If you have the ability to get in screen printing, get into it. You can get started for like $500. For the next 4 or 5 years, you can make you some money on the side. And for some of you, you can do it for even longer. For other of you, after that 4 or 5 years, you'll be looking at something else. It is a lot of work, and it's something I've thought about doing. I just can't put the energy into it right now. But again, it is something that for those who are able, it's a good thing to do. Let's see what else they asked me. I had, I think that's the basic thing. Now, let me roll back one moment, because this is just off the cuff. I haven't wrote anything down. This is just off the cuff. Some of the things that I really, really should say about the starting a business that kind of is important. When you go to your state, if you have a name for your business other than your name, Stephanie Friesen, so I can name my business Dr. Friesen, Stephanie Friesen PhD, or, Stephanie A. Friesen, any variation, Stephanie's Magic, if it has my name in it, I do not have to have a fictitious license. If it does not have my name in it, if it's my nickname, so my nickname, Majesty, Majestic Butterfly, because somebody calls me Butterfly. So if I say Majesty, then when I have my business, then it has to have a fictitious license. At least that's in the state of Florida. And I must tell you that all of my businesses that I've started have been based out of the state of Florida. So that's where a lot of my knowledge comes from. But some of the other places where I've helped people start their businesses are in California, which has a whole different set of rules. And recently, Puerto Rico, which has a totally new set of rules. So I kind of have to learn things as I grow, because these are new areas for me. But anyway, so remember, especially in the state of Florida, if you're going to have a business that's not your name or some variation of your name, you have to file a fictitious license in order to operate that business legally. I recommend that you do that, and then you will be able to open a bank account in that business name, which will lead you to later on being able to get loans and credit in the business name and stuff like that, especially if you want to blow up big, big, big. Because some things for business, you're going to have to be able to finance through someone else. Mind you, I finance all of my businesses 100% with my own money. I've never taken out a loan for my business. Don't anticipate that I ever will. I started, those of you who know, I started with nothing. I mean, literally nothing. And when I started my first business, I was tutoring, and somebody paid me for what I did. And I took money, and business I started years ago with my ex. We went online, bought stuff wholesale, $200 worth of stuff, went to the flea market, started selling it, flipped that, take that money and start it back. So that's just what I've done, things like that. I have never gone into something where I have had to go in debt in order to start it. It doesn't quite sit with me, to for these little businesses. Now that's totally different for when it comes to real estate, because that's just a different beast. But just that's just my take on it. If you're okay with it and having debt, that's a good way to go. But I'm not okay with it. I don't like owing anybody. I don't like being a slave to anybody in my terms. So I find ways to do it without owing people. All right, so that's it. That's some quick, fast, dirty. You got some other questions? Hit me up. I'll answer them. Even though you guys know this is my lupus retreat, my lupus rest, my lupus recovery, because I've been in this flare for almost 2 weeks now, at least 10 days. So it's going into 10, 11, 12 days or something. That's how it is. It's just flowing together. I can't even keep it straight. So after I come out of this, I got some other stuff that I have to do, but I got to recover in order to do it. All right, people. Love you. Take it easy. Hope this helped you. If it does, put a message, put a comment. Let me know what you think. You got another question, I'll answer it. No, there's a cost to ask me these questions, All right. Each one, teach one, reach one. All right. Thank you. Bye.